Hello and welcome to our Wednesday afternoon broadcast. If you're catching us live, welcome. Make sure that if you're jumping on that you please immediately put a comment in the comment section so you don't forget. I want to know you're here. About the first 10 or 15 minutes of today's conversation is going to be me talking about today's topic, which is the menopause movement. And then toward the end of today's broadcast, I always open up the floor to our community for our community conversation. It's where I answer questions and get a chance to say hello and interact with you. Today, we are going to be talking about the menopause movement. If you're new to my channel or you're new to joining us here in some of these live community chats, welcome. My name is Diane. I'm the creator of the online course and community, the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman, as well as the online course and community, the Midlife Mindset Shift. I am a menopausal woman. I'm on the heels of my 55th birthday, and I really do have a passion for sharing my experience as an aging woman and how we can really change the narrative for us as women in a community on what it is like to go through these seasons of life and what it really means to age successfully. So welcome. I always love having you guys here as part of our conversation. So I always ask if you don't mind, because this really does help us share this community and information with other women who are seeking out a community where they can get support, is if you wouldn't mind making sure you take a second to hit that subscribe button on YouTube, but make sure you hit that like button on Facebook, and then make sure that you're sharing this content with others. The interaction that we have here in this community does really make this information more available to other women. We are a growing community and we welcome all women. So the more we share, the more we show that we care and we can really get this information out there. So today I want to specifically talk about menopause. It is a subject that we, I think as a community of women, don't talk openly enough about. I've shared some of my experiences here with you guys over the years, and I know it's been a while since I first started sharing my story, so I thought I'd recoup a little bit of that today. But before I get into my story, I wanted to share some statistics with all of you about what this menopausal movement really means to us. So currently in our society, there are about 27 million women in the workforce who are silently suffering through menopause. So that's about 20% of the workforce showing up every day, hiding how it is they're feeling. And if you are in perimenopause or in menopause, you know what it's like to go through those insomnia bouts, going through night sweats, going through hot flashes, going through body aches, going through cognitive decline, and just a general lacking of self-confidence because we just are not showing up looking and feeling our best. So 20% of our workforce is silently suffering through a season of life that is just natural. It's just part of how we are designed as women. So we go through this season of life during our adolescent years feeling all out of control and a little whacked out, and having to hide the days that we suffered through a menstrual cycle, and we have to show up and be alert anyways, and popping painkillers to just get through the day. Then we go through our childbearing years. A lot of us suffer with infertility. We don't want to talk about that. I know myself, I suffered through infertility as well as a miscarriage, had a second baby at 40, and immediately went into perimenopause. I went through all of those seasons as a woman in the workforce, and it was torturous for me emotionally, mentally, and physically, going through the infertility stages, going through the pregnancy stages, nursing a baby, or not nursing a baby, but pumping milk for my infant in a bathroom, because that was the only place that I could do it, in a place that was filled with a bunch of men. And it's all awkward, and it's all uncomfortable, and it's all something that we do so privately, and we bear that burden, for a lot of us, very lonely. So I want to make sure that we are opening up this dialogue here in this community. So for most women, perimenopause starts around the age of 45. That's when we start to notice those shifts, and when a lot of the tips and tricks and little things that we used to be able to do, and maybe our lifestyle, resulted in a quick change for us. So I know for me, like I said, I had my second baby at 40, and I literally went in from lactating into perimenopause. I didn't even skip a beat. So I went from one hormonally challenging kind of recovery state right into perimenopause. And it was really hard for me, the fact that my body was changing and I had no idea what I was going through at the time. So I did suffer from, suddenly gaining a bunch of weight and not understanding why, suddenly having all this body fat accumulating on my body, not knowing why, having night sweats and insomnia, and just feeling like I was living outside of my own body, not understanding what was going on. And so many women go through that because we don't understand that perimenopause is such a long season of life before we actually get into menopause. It's those, I call it the post-adolescence kind of phase, right? Or the after adolescence kind of phase. So if you live with a teenager who's going through those hormonal changes, we know we start to see those changes in them long before they actually hit that puberty stage, right? That period of time where they just seem like they're not themselves. We go through the same thing. We just don't think about it because we're so much farther in life. So for some women, perimenopause can last from anywhere from 2 years to 10 years. For me, I was on that 10-year cycle, and I do believe that it was because I had a pregnancy so late in my life that I literally went from nursing my daughter and recovering from pregnancy right into the season of perimenopause, and the next 10 years for me are kind of just a miserable blur of all the changes that I had going on in my body. I don't really feel like I ever recovered from that pregnancy. For women who are in the workforce, this is a very challenging time because there are a lot of women who feel like they are going to age out of their job. I had a conversation with one of my girlfriends just a couple of weeks ago. We were having lunch, and that was her biggest fear, was that if she doesn't get it together in her physical appearance, that she's afraid that she's just going to be pushed out of her job because the company that she works for is predominantly men, and that she's going to look like she doesn't show up for the part anymore. And so that's one of the things that I really think that we need to open the dialogue of conversation over, is how can we show up confidently ourselves? And that's why the saying here in our community is making decisions every day so that we can look and feel our best while living our most authentic life. Because if we see ourselves in our best light, we own that confidence of how it is we're taking care of ourselves, then we show up confidently. And confidence is probably one of the most attractive things that we can show up for in any scenario. So if we're lacking confidence, that shows in so many areas of our life. So we really want to make sure that we're making decisions so that we can show up looking and feeling our best in our eyes, so that when we walk into the room, that confidence is the first thing that people are noticing. So it's a very big fear that a lot of women have. A lot of women, when I was doing my research on this, are also missing days at work. So calling in sick because they maybe had a night where they didn't sleep because of insomnia, or they're just not feeling well. And they oftentimes have to be dishonest about why it is they're calling in sick, because they fear telling the truth, that they had a bad night of insomnia, or they're having a hormonal day, and they are afraid that if they're honest about that the confidence in the people that they're working for about how they're going to show up mentally for their job is going to start lacking. So we also know, and I talk about this very openly as well, how I have forgot where I parked my car in a Target parking lot, and I couldn't remember my own son's name. That we know that feeling. We know what it's like to have that cognitive decline when we can't find the words that we want to say to express ourselves. And we fear that going into meetings. We fear that in the workplace. I know I fear that even in what I do for my own job, showing up here on days where I didn't feel mentally strong. And we need to understand how lifestyle changes can keep us in the game cognitively as well. So a lot of the things that we suffer from in menopause can be changed with lifestyle changes. And I'm going to share a little bit about that in just a second. So what I think I am really committed to in the year 2021, actually, I know what I'm committed to in the year 2021, is openly sharing again. I'm going to go back through my journey. I'm going to go back through what it was I was struggling with and why I started this community in the first place, and share with all of you that it can get better, that you can be in control of how you age, that you can, in fact, age successfully, and you do not have to age out of anything in your life if you understand the changes that are going on in your body and how you have the opportunity to manipulate them with very subtle lifestyle changes. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. So there are a group of people, men, in the Silicon Valley area who are CEOs of corporations, right? And they have adapted an intermittent fasting lifestyle for their own cognitive enhancement, right? They are working hard, they're running companies, and they are practicing. I think there's a group of them that's called the We Fast community or something like that. And they're men who are running big companies, and they practice intermittent fasting so they can be on their game mentally. And that is what I want us to understand here as women. When we talk about intermittent fasting, oftentimes it's advertised to us as a weight loss remedy, or it's advertised to us as a way that we can fit into a pair of jeans. And what I really want to change here in our community is the dialogue around how it is we are going to decide to take care of ourselves and what our priorities should be really dialed into. Because I can tell you from my own personal experience that when I first started intermittent fasting and there was no one who looked like me who was talking about it, it was a really lonely place. And I had to experiment on my own to figure out how it was I was going to heal my body. This is where hungry is where the magic happens, right? When we're in that state of hungry, when we're in that state where we're utilizing what we have in our storage systems to fuel our body, that's when we're at our cognitive best. That's when our brain is firing with all cylinders. That's when we are just clear-headed. We're even keel emotionally, and we have so much energy that we can get through our day. That's the exact opposite of what most women are describing as their day in menopause out of balance, right? And the women here in this community who are figuring out that hungry is where the magic happens, and we understand what the energized sense of calm is, our description of a menopausal day is just absolute bliss. We have so much energy. Our cognitive function is on point. We show up confidently, and we feel good about the life that we're living. When we focus on those kind of things, and we focus on the health aspects of what we can do as aging women, I want you to just trust me that the weights will settle itself down, that the body fat will start to go away. If we come into intermittent fasting with the sole desire or the sole purpose to lose weight, I promise you, you will miss the magic. You will miss the magic that can happen in what it is you as a woman in menopause has the power to do to reverse the signs of aging. It is absolutely a magical experience. And this is what I'm teaching in my new Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Women course. How it is we are making decisions based on how it is we want to live in our tomorrows. How do we want to age moving forward? There is the trifecta that I preach all the time. Fast long, feast well, train smart. How can you fast long enough to make sure that you are mentally, emotionally, and physically in the game because you have balanced out your hormones? How do you feast well enough so that you're making very conscious decisions about what you want in your life? Oftentimes, women are making food decisions based on what they want from an emotional standpoint of what food means to them from past experiences, and we're not making conscious, mindful decisions about the food choices that we're making based on what it is we really say we want. And what we really say we want is that we want to show up looking and feeling our best. And that's where we have to make that mindset shift. And then the third component of the trifecta to aging successfully is training smart. How can we move our body so that we do not lose our physical abilities moving forward? How is it that we can be the women that when we fall down, we can in fact get ourselves back up? I modeled that very beautifully this summer when I was out on one of my runs, and I tripped over my feet and I fell. And within an instant, I got my body off the ground. That was proof to me that I'm training smart, that if in fact I happen to fall down, do I have what it takes to push my body off the ground and get back into my life? And that is what we're working for here. How is it as women we can age successfully? It is our time, ladies. We have raised kids. We have helped husbands become successful in their careers. It is our time to shine. And what I love even more so today, with a lot of what's going on in the news today in the United States of America, is we have women modeling what aging successfully can be. For the first time in the United States of America, we have a 56-year-old vice president, a 56-year-old woman vice president. Y'all, that's us. That's our community. We have a 67-year-old first lady. That's amazing, right? That is the power of what we can do as women. And now we have more models of what that can be. And I hope to create a community of us here who are models to our generations coming up behind us. I don't want to grow old like my grandmother. I do not want to grow old like my mother. And I pray that my daughter looks at me one day and says, I hope to grow old like my mother. That's the example that we need to set for our girls coming up behind us, even our sons coming up behind us, right? We need to model the power we have as women and what we can accomplish in our life when we just stop and think about what it takes to take care of us. We have the power to do that. We need to stop worrying about what jean size we wear. We need to stop worrying about what the number says when we step on the scale. Those two things will take care of themselves when you finally get serious about what it is you say you want for yourself and you back that up with decisions. And that is what I'm going to do for you guys here in this community. Like I said, my new Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman course is not about nutrition. I give you some ideas on what to do with nutrition, but I'm really focused on helping you change your mindset about what it means to take care of yourself for your tomorrows. We are needed. There are so many of us. We are a huge population in our society, and we need to make sure that we're showing up as our best selves because our society needs us. We need to set the example, and we need to be the powerhouses of what's going to create change in our lives that everyone is looking forward to. We are the change makers, and we need to make sure that we're ready for that responsibility. So let me see if we have any questions or comments. Let me know in the comment section. Do you feel like you're aging successfully? Do you feel like you need a little bit of work in that area? Do you not understand what's going on in your body? Intermittent fasting is the thing that is changing lives for women every single day, not because it's a diet, but because it's a timing thing. It's because we are going in and purposely manipulating how our hormones are working for us, and we're no longer letting them work against us. You can do that drug-free. You can do that very easily. It doesn't take up any of your time. It's not an expensive lifestyle to live, and you have the power to choose what it is you're going to put in your body when you are deciding what it is that you want to consume as far as nutrition goes. It's a very, very powerful way to live, and I'm super excited to be part of the movement that we have here for women. Mystical Heart, I love that you are here with us today. Tracy, hello. Brenda, she's a 2019 grad of our intermittent fasting class. Suzanne, hello, 45 and just entered Menopause. Susanna, I can tell you, it can be a really easy time in your life if you understand what's going on in your body chemistry-wise and hormonally. You got to understand that there's some part that we have to surrender to that and really understand what that season of change is for us. If you fight it, if you don't lean into a little bit, I can tell you when I didn't understand it, it was hellish. It was pure hellish for me. And once I understood it and started going with the flow of it, it actually became a season of my life. It is a season of my life as a postmenopausal woman now that I'm really embracing, and I'm learning how to love, despite the fact that there are some things I can't change. I'm learning how to really embrace it because this is a season of life for me that I own. Right? It's the first time in my life as an almost 55-year-old woman that I really own my life. And I think we don't own that. We don't accept that. And I think once we realize that, we have the power to own our life now because we're not being a mommy to someone. And for a lot of us, we're not having to be wives to someone. We get to be a partner with someone because our husbands are settled too, right? And we really get the chance to embrace the life that we have on our own 2 feet. And that's the part of menopause that I'm really enjoying for sure. Danny, good to have you with us as well. Let Michael know that you said hello. Josephina, September 2020 grad from Wisconsin. Good to have you. Tracy, that's you. Hopefully you're feeling better. Lou, hello from Texas. Good to have you with us. I want to find out more about your classes. Okay. So you guys have to make sure you get on my email list. All the information is always located in the description of the Facebook page, as well as I'm going to type to go so you can go to my website, as well as the YouTube as well. So if you just go to fortodaysagingwoman.com, just get on my email list. I email out registration information. Our first class for 2021 is open for registration. This is the new format of my class where I teach you a lot of mindset shift work and really teach you about how you can get control of your hormones and really create a lifestyle that you could live forever and never have to diet again. That's the goal. How can we create a lifestyle that we just naturally step into every day when we realize that the choices that we are making really do, in fact, allow us to look and feel our best and do that in such an authentic way that we don't even know we're doing it. Like I fast every day and I don't even know I'm doing it. I have all the foods in my life that I want based on what it is I say I want for my life. And I no longer put myself in that sabotage kind of category because I own my decisions, right? And we own what those results are. And I think when we get to that point and we're just really confident in that decision-making process, then the rest is really easy peasy for us for sure. So Lou, I put a link to my website in there so you can find it in the comment section. Angie, thanks for joining us today. Anna, finishing Meno, turning 60, but IF was the turnaround for me to get through those years. Yay, 2018 grad. Yeah, for sure. And it is, I've spent so many years in the kitchen and so many years in the grocery store, grocery hauling, food prepping, food containerizing, food sorting, food portioning, food packing in insulated lunch bags. And I could tell you the time that I have gotten back and the resources that I have gotten back creating this lifestyle for myself are priceless. Priceless. You'll save so much money. You'll save so much time. You'll save so much mental energy. You'll save so much emotion because it's a lifestyle that you create for yourself based on what it is you say you want for yourself. All the rules are defined by you. And that's what I really love about this lifestyle too, is that you get to decide what you want and you don't have to live by anybody else's guidelines and you don't have to ask anybody else for help anymore. You'll be able to figure it out for yourself. Susanna, thanks for that comment. That's awesome. Anna Marie, a happy new year. Anna Marie, April 2019 grad, looking forward to the new course, always spreading the word. Awesome, girlfriend. Love that you are doing that. And if you are a graduate, keep an eye out for an email. I'm going to give you a special invite to join us for the new format as well. Julie, nothing has helped with weight gain or loss after diagnosed with hypothyroid. I'm on Armor Thyroid and bioidentical hormones. I have bought green powder drinks and collagen to help with hormones. Nothing has helped. Well, green drinks and collagen won't help with your hormones. You have to balance out your own hormones. And the best thing that will give you the opportunity to balance out your hormones, believe it or not, is doing nothing for a large portion of your day. So what I teach in intermittent fasting is the fact that we do everything within the confines of a 24-hour window. And I create an environment for you to understand how you can balance out your own hormones. There's nothing that you can really put in to balance them out. It's that we have to stop covering up how our hormones feel and let them do their own thing. So that's what I teach in the course, is how you can get your hormones to balance out on their own by you doing absolutely nothing. And that is the best part of what we teach in this class. So Julie, I hope to have you in class with us. Kimmy, I just found you and so happy you are live. 52 with Hashimoto's and wanting to start intermittent fasting. Girlfriend, jump into our course. We have had women with Hashimoto's. We have had women with thyroid conditions. We actually have someone in our midlife mindset shift course right now. So that's our advanced level course. She, every time she goes to the doctor, she gets her thyroid medication reduced. And her goal is to be completely off of her thyroid medication. I'm not a doctor, so I can't say that intermittent fasting cures anything. What I can tell you is when you heal your body resets itself and it goes back to operating as designed, right? Because we move out of the way. So thyroid medication is not something that you have to take for the rest of your life if you can get your body to heal itself. The same thing with Hashimoto's disease. Once you get diagnosed as a Hashimoto's woman, oftentimes you're told that you'll have to live with that forever. And you might have to live with the diagnosis, but you don't have to live with the signs and signals of what Hashimoto's is. You can actually get those signs and signals to go away once you balance out your hormones as well. What we suffer from as perimenopausal and hormonal women, as far as autoimmune disorders, are the result of lifestyle decisions that we've made in the years past. And so there's this whole group of us. There's like a society of autoimmune disorder women, and it's rampant. And it's rampant because we all have done the same things in some way or another in our past through food education that we have followed, through dieting like trends that we have followed, through just not taking care of ourselves because we didn't know how to take care of ourselves. And then what we end up doing is covering up all those signs and signals with quick fix elixirs and a lot of times prescription medication. Those things don't fix the problem. Your body has been designed to fix its own problems. We have to just stop trying to do it for it, right? And once we do nothing and let our body settle in that state of allowing it to heal itself, then it does its job as designed. So I would definitely look into jumping into our course with us. You will be surprised at how great you'll start to feel for sure. Cheryl, good to have you with us. Kimmy, good to have you with us. Bonita, I think it is. Bishop, where did you go, girlfriend? I just updated my comments and then you disappeared on me. Where did we go? Let's see if I can find you. I want to make sure I read what you said. Cheryl, Kimmy, oh, there you go, from Michigan. Good to have you with us, Bonita. Julie, I think maybe it would be great if you address the fact that some women do not have their husband or partner support. And what do you do if you don't have that support? I assume you do from following you, and very happy that you do. But other than food, exercise, that is a fact that is the fact of no support at home. Okay, so when I first started intermittent fasting, no one else in my family did it. My husband is a great man and he would never stop me from doing anything that I wanted to do. But here's the thing I always want women to remember about changes that we decide to make for ourselves, especially if it's like a nutrition or diet type of thing. We run our husbands or partners through the ringer with diets, right? And we get super excited when we start a diet. We want everybody to jump on board. And oftentimes the entire house changes because of what we decide to do. And then we quit. We quit, right? And so we bring everybody along and we want them to support us, and then we quit. And then we start and then we quit. And then we start and then we quit. So our husbands or partners at a certain point in that start, quit, they lose faith in the fact that we're going to stick with something. So when I started intermittent fasting, my husband was like, cool, do what you got to do. He didn't really want anything to do with it. Then he saw the results that I was getting. And he had a little bit of fear about being hungry, which I had the same fear, right? He worked a physical job at the time, and he didn't want to be hungry and fatigued and feel like, he needed food at work. And so he just watched me, and then he watched how much energy I had, and he saw how good I was feeling, and he saw how I reversed my own pre-diabetic state. And then he just one day went to work and just fasted, and he realized that he felt great after it. And then he started incorporating that lifestyle. So we have to take into account the things we've put our spouses or partners through in the past, and then we have to give them some grace and just model for them what this lifestyle can mean. I don't necessarily make my husband fast with me, and he doesn't make me eat with him. So you have to make sure that you communicate. Communication is key with all of this, to the people that you live with in your house, why you're doing this, right? So when I told my family why I was doing it, and they knew I was sick, they knew I wasn't feeling well, I was depressed, I was hangry, I was hormonal, I was all the things, right? And then when I started feeling better, they understood and they saw the changes. So if you don't have support from someone, model what you want them to buy into. Stick with it. Don't jump in and out. Don't self-sabotage. Don't talk about how you messed up. Don't, just live the life and provide the examples for others to follow. Oftentimes what happens is husbands start to fast and they don't tell you. They just mimic what you're doing. Oftentimes what happens is your friends will start to fast because they're like, what is she doing? She looks really great. Her skin is glowing. She's happy again. Like, what is she doing? And then they'll notice like physical changes in you, and then they'll ask what you're doing. So we have to model the example in order for people to buy in what we're doing, right? If you don't model the example, people aren't going to give you the benefit of the doubt. So do you. You have the right to treat your body the way you want to treat your body. You don't need permission from anyone to skip breakfast. You don't need permission from anyone to change what it is you need in your nutritional life if that's what your body needs. A man's body hormonally and a woman's body hormonally, they are different, and men don't go through menopause. So it's not fair for men to expect us to model what they're doing when their body's not changing the way our body is changing. So the best advice I could give you is model what you want someone to buy into, and then keep a really open dialogue of communication and explain to people why it's important to you. When I first started intermittent fasting, as if my life depended on it, and I'm not even exaggerating about that. I did not want to become a diabetic, and I didn't want to become an Alzheimer's patient. And so I fasted as if my life depended on it. And I made that very clear to my family. So make sure you make very clear to your family why you're doing this. And then if you're serious about it, don't jump on and off the wagon. Just stay with the lifestyle that you know that's going to work for you. And Julie, that's the best advice I can give you there. And now my husband does his thing. I do my thing. My kids fast on occasion. My daughter's like, will come in some days. She's like, oh my God, I fasted for 16 hours. We don't make anyone in our family do anything. Like, everyone in our family decides what they want to do. We model good behavior. And I think that's true with anything that you're trying to do with people that you want to buy in on something that you're doing. Dawn, it's good to have you with us. Teresa, thanks to intermittent fasting, I'm aging successfully, going on 63. Teresa is one of our model students for sure. It's always great when you jump in with us. Suzanne, you are welcome. And then Sue, ladies, I feel like I'm aging successfully because I have been practicing intermittent fasting since May 12th, 2020. Not only have I lost 38 pounds, so there you go. That's proof that the weight will come off when you stop focusing on the weight. But the healing is absolutely amazing. My thyroid medication dosage has been lowered 2 times since I started intermittent fasting. I wish I had known about this lifestyle when I was going through menopause. What else did she say? But better late than never. I'm 64 and getting healthier every day. So Sue is in our midlife mindset shift course. She's a graduate of our intermittent fasting for today's aging woman course. Thyroid medication has been reduced 2 times, and she's lost 38 pounds. She is a perfect example of when you focus on the things that you say you really want to have in your life, everything else falls into place. So Sue, I'm super proud of you, and you're another one of our model students here. Maureen, what is the relationship between IF and low blood during menopause? What do you mean by low blood? Do you mean low blood sugar or low blood what? And then Sharon, these live chats are so helpful. They help me keep on working on it even when I feel discouraged. Yeah, here's the deal. Anytime our body is changing, and oftentimes in menopause, it's changing in ways that aren't always what we're excited about. But there are ways that we can be optimistic. There are ways that we can own this aging season. And that's really the the floor that I'm going to take here is, yeah, it's not great, but there are things that we still have the power to control, and there are a lot of the aging things that we're not happy with that we can make better. We may not be able to reverse them 100%, but we sure as heck can make them better. And that is what I really like to say the trifecta to aging successfully is, right? We have that saying, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. There's some truth to that, right? We don't want to end up having a situation where we reverse our ability to function physically in our life. The same thing holds true with our mental capacity. We don't want to reverse our ability to function mentally and cognitively in our day. We know for a fact that there's ways that we can control that and slow it down tremendously. We also know that there are ways that we can speed it up and have it go the opposite direction that we like. So we have to know, what do we want for ourselves? Do we want to slow down the aging process? Do we want to feel confident through the aging process? Then we have to make decisions based on what it is we say we want. And if we don't want to make those decisions, that's fine. But then we have to be okay with the way things are aging for us. And that's just a hard conversation we have to have for ourselves, for sure. Janine, I'm almost 53 years old, and IF has changed my life from always in pain to very little to no pain during labor-intensive jobs. Yeah, for sure. And that, Janine, is probably due to the fact that one of the major benefits of intermittent fasting is the reduction of inflammation. We have also had women in our community who have canceled knee surgeries, who have canceled hip surgeries. I know for myself, I no longer have to go to the chiropractor. I used to have tremendous lower back pain, and I always thought it was because I was a runner, and it was actually the water that my body was holding on to because I was consuming foods that I was intolerant to, and that was causing a bunch of inflammation in my body. And once I figured all of that out, I don't have to go to the chiropractor anymore, and I run more than ever. So a lot of the times the aches and pains that we feel are due to lifestyle choices that we're making, for sure. And then Josephina, thank you for that explanation with partners. That makes so much more sense. Yes, for sure. Model what you want people to buy into, because we have run our spouses through the ringer. I mean, I have drugged my family through every type of diet there was out there, and then I quit, right? And we quit because we do the diet as scheduled. Do this for X amount of days, get this result, then there's nothing left to do. So you follow it to a T, you get the results that were expected, and then you go back to your regular life, because we didn't learn anything. We were preached to, we were handed a meal plan, we were told exactly what we're supposed to do, and we weren't asked to think. What I teach here in this community and what I teach in my courses is I'm going to make you think. How's that been working for you? How is that working for you? What decision did you just make, and did you get the result that you wanted from that decision? And then you get to decide how many more times you want to make that decision, right? And that's what we need to do as a society of women. We need to start giving ourselves permission to make decisions on how it is we care for ourselves. And we cannot rely on anyone else to do that for us. We know ourselves the best. We are the ones that need to make those decisions for ourselves, for sure. And then Janine, thanks, Diane. Great info today. IF is healing my body. Yeah, for sure. Low blood sugar levels. Okay, so Maureen, if you have low blood sugar levels, are you testing? Like, do you have low glucose levels, or do you have a feeling of low blood glucose or blood sugar levels because you're hypoglycemic? So when you're hypoglycemic, I used to be a hypoglycemic woman. I was the one that carried around baggies of food, and if I went 2 hours and 1 minute past my feeding time, I was a hangry mess. My family used to drive into convenience stores like gas stations and buy me a snack. Like, I was a true like textbook hypoglycemic woman. So the feeling of low blood sugar is the need for your body to have a sugar fix. So that means you're addicted to sugar. And when your sugar drops, then you need a fix, and then you go back up. So the best cure for hypoglycemia is intermittent fasting, because again, you break the sugar addiction and you don't go through this throughout your day anymore. The sugar need, high and low, that's where the energized sense of calm comes in. That's where you're just like this all day. You don't have those sugar lows where you feel hypoglycemic and the blood sugar level drops. you become very balanced out and you don't have that craving and the need for sugar anymore because your body is finding its own sources of energy to get you through the day. So I hope that's what you were asking. But hypoglycemia is that thing. It's scary, I know, because again, like I said, I was a hypoglycemic woman. I was a hypoglycemic child from a very early age, and I went through all of my life having the hangries and getting the shakes and feeling like I couldn't go more than 2 hours without food. And I now go 20, 22, 23, sometimes 24 hours with no food, and I thrive in that environment. So you have to just switch over your energy dependency system and go from a sugar addictive state into a fat burning and fat utilizing state. It's magic once it happens. Okay, cool. I'm going to cut out of here. That's 10 minutes or 5 minutes past my goal. I'm supposed to be doing this for 30 minutes, but I'm super fired up about what it is that I really want you women in our community to understand and know that you're supported here. You can age any way you decide you want to age. So think about that this weekend. How is it that you're aging? How's that working for you? Do you feel like you're a slave to food? Do you feel like your body's falling apart? Are you lacking confidence? Are you scared about how your brain is functioning? Are you at a loss for words? Are you losing your car in a parking lot? All of those things are what we deem as normal, but they're not supposed to be normal. There's a better way to live. And that's really what we're hoping to share with all of you. Thank you to all my graduates of the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Women course who always graciously come on here and share their experiences, and hope for the women who are looking for a better way to age, and hopefully giving you guys some confidence to jump into our next course. So our next course does start on January the 30th. It is open for registration. If you go to fortodaysagingwoman.com, you can get yourself registered. We spend 30 days together and I teach you how to incorporate an intermittent fasting lifestyle so that you have the opportunity every single day to wake up confident in looking and feeling your best and living your most authentic life. Have a great weekend, you guys. Think about how it is you're going through the course of your day. Think about how that's working for you. And if you have any questions, always feel free to circle back around and ask. I'm always here to help.